Hello and welcome to your own channel. Let's talk business once again. As always, I'm excited to have you here. In today's video presentation, we are going to talk about how Lloyd's is modernizing the way the risk is syndicated. So currently, the syndicate can play both lead and follower during the placement process. But under this initiative, this is going to get changed a bit in order to improve or bring more efficiencies. So syndicate will be recognized as either leader or follower with a different function and expectation from them. The clear lead and follower distinction is expected to eliminate much of the duplication within the process, and that will ultimately bring down the cost of doing business within the Lloyd. And that is something which is very important within this initiative. The Lloyd's Corporation is working with LMA to consult with market to draft the framework for this initiative so that they can work more efficiently. So as always, there is lot to know and lot to discuss. So without waiting more, let's start talking business. So as you are already aware that we are covering future of Lloyd specifically in this series, and specifically their 2020 top priorities. So far we have covered the Lloyd Risk Exchange in detail, complex risk platform. In last video presentations, we discussed about claim solution in two parts, part A and part B. And in this video presentation, we are going to see lead and follower changes and the modern way of risk syndication. So for those who are new to my channel, I am Ravi Shankar. I am having more than 16 years of experience in business analysis, largely associated with P&C and general insurance domain, currently practicing within the Lloyd's of London. And if you have any queries related to this video presentation or my previous video presentations, do reach me at my Hotmail and my LinkedIn profile. You can also connect me at my Twitter handler. So once again, thanks a lot for all your emails, all your suggestions. I really love them. Thanks a lot and keep them coming. So now, without waiting more, let's start talking business. So before getting into the detail, let's understand some of the basic concept, and this will help us to understand the current initiative better. So when Lloyd Syndicate assume risk, they operate by a subscription basis, and this means that each syndicate assume only a percentage of the risk. So here is the risk, and what will happen, the different syndicate will be participating in this risk under the different capacity. So let's understand this with the help of one example. Lenovo plans to ship the load of computer from India to US and shipment worth $15 million. Lenovo connect with Lloyd's broker in order to obtain the cargo insurance. And what will happen, this broker will reach the Lloyd syndicate within the Lloyd's of London, assuming that this risk is syndicated or accepted by 15 syndicate, and each syndicate is holding 1 million of the risk. So which means that every syndicate is holding 6.67% of risk, and this will ultimately reduce or minimize their exposure. So what happened over here is the broker took the risk to the various syndicate within the Lloyd's, and each syndicate is actually participated in the risk. Say for example, this syndicate paid 10%, this syndicate paid 60%, and this syndicate paid 30% of the risk. And the way the syndicates are picking the risk or assuming the risk is called the syndication process, or is called a subscription process, because these syndicates are subscribing to the overall risk. So this is called as a subscription. So if you can see over here, this is the cutting from the MRC. In this MRC, you can see 4 syndicates are participating in this risk. So going forward, let's talk about how things work in the Lloyd from the lead and follower syndicate point of view. The Lloyd market, as I said, made up of lead and follower, and this particular picture is the right metaphor of how lead and follower work, where lead is paving the way for followers to follow within the risk cycle. So we will try to understand what are the key functions of the leader. Some of the key functions of the leaders are negotiating the terms with broker before accepting the risk. Then they are fixing the rate that have been established by their rating methodology. They are setting the strategy before accepting the risk. They are responsible for monitoring the risk and controlling the risk. And in event of claim payment, they are responsible to make the claim payment to the ultimate policyholder. So these are some of the key responsibility of lead. So this practice is naturally evolved over the period of time, which is also having a lot of scope for improvement. When I'm talking about this practice, I'm talking about the lead and follower practice, and what Lloyd's is doing. Lloyd's is trying to explore the way to improve this process. And now in this initiative, they are not only trying to explore the modernization of the syndication process, but they are also looking to improve the way the lead and follower are working together. In other way, they are trying to bring more efficiency between the lead and follower process. So when I say modernization syndicate process, so basically I'm referring to provide a better customer experience by improving the underwriting standards, strengthening the market performance, the way the risk is getting placed within the market. This is what I was trying to say when I'm talking about modernization of the syndication process. Now, when I say improving the lead and follower practice, I'm talking about removing all the unnecessary duplication carried out by the follower, such as reviewing the detailed wording, because wording is already being reviewed by the leader, actuarial review and pricing model, which is already done by the leader, and then data entry and certain reporting requirement, which is already being captured or handled by the leader itself. So for follower, there is no need to duplicate this work or redo this work again. Going forward, and let's try to understand what are the key highlight of this new model. So we have to understand the discussion about the technical detail for modernization syndication practice is still under development. So the Lloyd's Corporation along with LMA is talking and analyzing the feedback from various market participants to develop the clear model at this moment. But let's talk about some of the key points from this new model. So this model will set the clear, significant and appropriate differentiation between the leader and follower. That is one thing. It will provide the ability and choice for any syndicate to be either a leader or follower in a different class of business. Now, when we talk about the lead recognition, right, this will clearly define and aggregate the lead within the entire Lloyd's. And when it comes to the best practice, it will provide the best practice standard for the leader at Lloyd's and amending the Lloyd's minimum standard to differentiate the requirement for lead and follower in the overall process capability and expertise. Let me show you what is this minimum standard. So if you can see here, this cutting is from Lloyd's website. It says that the minimum standards are the statement of business conduct which managing agent is expected to comply in order to operate in Lloyd's. So these are the basically a minimum standard which lead and follower must follow in order to work within the Lloyd's. And I guess there are 15 minimum standards. So some of those are mentioned here, like minimum standard for underwriting strategy and planning, underwriting and control, minimum standard for pricing, rating, monitoring and governance. So these are some of the minimum standards which they have to follow in order to operate within the Lloyd's. Now, when we talk about the framework to compensate leader, this framework will enable the appropriate compensation to the leader in order to provide the right services to the follower and foster the culture of innovation in their respective line of business where they are acting as a leader. This new model will also highlight the service level standard for the leaders, including providing the data that follower need to understand before accepting the risk. So these are some of the key highlights from this model. Let's see what are very specific things about lead and follower within the new model. So first thing first is about the leader. Now, the leader will follow the best-in-class practice for underwriting and claim. And when it comes to the world-class underwriting result, the lead will constantly deliver the world-class underwriting result against the agreed metrics and standards and also deliver a good quality, sustainable underwriting performance and growth throughout the risk life cycle. They will also maintain and develop a deep client and broker relationship in order to get more business and provide better services to the client, and they will also innovate within their class of business in order to bring better services in a more efficient and innovative way. They will also provide the appropriate data and services to the follower, and they will also help in order to develop the underwriting talent within their class of business. So these are some of the key responsibilities for leader within the new regime. Now let's see what followers are going to do in this new regime. For follower, they have to meet the Lloyd's minimum standard for compliance, best practice, due diligence, portfolio management and reporting. When it comes to the partnership with the leader, they have to build a collaborative and innovative partnership with the leaders in order to understand their class of business and provide better support to the leader. They have to operate in a low cost structure model because most of the work is already being done by the leader and there is less duplication of work within the leader and follower. then they have to contribute to the good quality, sustainable underwriting performance and growth within the line of business. Then they have to maintain a very high quality portfolio management. It is also expected from the follower to provide the development opportunities for the pipeline of underwriters who are aspired to become the leader in future. So let's go ahead and see what are the main benefit what Lloyds is trying to achieve from this initiative. So first thing first is about the underwriting excellence. So customer and broker will receive the assurance of underwriting excellence and capacity which will deliver in the most efficient way under this new regime. Now when we talk about the market leader, then what will happen in this new regime? The leader will be aggregated and recognized as a market leader in their class of business, meaning that they offer best-in-class capacity, capabilities, and innovation to the market and to the customers. And then when we talk about what are the benefits for the smaller syndicate, then it will be easier for the smaller and niche syndicate to operate at Lloyd's, either a follower or lead. And when they are acting as a follower, then they will have an ability to test the water in new class of business before committing the substantial investment into the class of business. So say for example, it will give the opportunity to the follower to understand the class of business first or before investing heavily in that class of business. When I say that before investing heavily, it means that before assuming the heavy risk within the class of business. So it will give them opportunity to learn the class of business, how it works first. Then it will also talk about the reduction in the cost. So both leader and follower will see the reduction in the cost through this new efficiencies, and then the leader may be paid by the follower to recognize the lead services provider, and this incentivizes the leader to innovate the new product and service within their class of business, and will also give opportunity to invest in developing their own people and underwriters. Now the leader could perform the administrative activities on behalf of followers such as know your customer and sanction checks, and then finally the follower will benefit from the more efficient and appropriate governance and oversight within this new regime. Let's move ahead and see what are the various benefits to the other initiative within the Future of Lloyd's program with the help of new lead syndicate and modernization processes. So let's talk about the complex risk platform first, and specifically the data in standard. The data in standard is required for each class of business on the complex risk platform will be aligned and negotiated by the group of lead underwriters and the broker. So it will help them to set up the data standard at more granular level, and then it will also help in terms of appetite matching functionality. So developing and maintaining the appetite matching functionality on complex risk platform will be streamlined. When it comes to the claim solution, a simple decision making workflow will be designed for the claim platform, where the lead only claims are more clearly defined to achieve the better efficiencies. And this will also ensure all the lead and follower syndicate have single source of truth on the things such as placement of business, claim status, final terms and condition, and exposure. So this is also going to help these two initiatives in a greater detail. Now let's talk about their implementation approach. So again, they are delivering this solution in 3 phases. The transition phase is already over last year. Currently, we are at phase 1, which is 2020, 2021 for phase 2, and 2022 is for phase 3. So phase 1, the corporation and LMAs were discussing with market in order to understand how to draft the framework. In phase 1, they are designing the standards for lead and follower. They are delivering the proof of concept for the specific class of business. I guess they have already selected the marine hull and international casualty binders for this purpose, and they are also going to expand this to geographies and various other market participants. In phase 2, they will bring more class of business along with new geographies and new market participants. And finally, in phase 3, the entire business will be operated under the new regime to achieve better efficiencies in the overall process. That's all from today's video presentation. I hope you have gained some knowledge from today's video sessions. Thanks a lot for your valuable time. Goodbye and take very good care of yourself. Bye bye, and I will see you soon with new topic.